I'm sitting here at the Finest Spirits 2016 in Vienna with Melanie Stanger from Spingbank Distillers. Hello Melanie, nice to see you again.
Hello Peter, nice to see you again too.
Last week I was one of the lucky participants of the vertical tasting held by your importer into Austria, where you treated us to some pretty nice drams. Today I'm sitting here in the name of our Whisky Club 5005. We regularly organize what we call discussion over glass, or DoG for short, to discuss various points with experts from whisky industry. Normally we do it face to face with presence of many of our members. This time we will try a new format. We will record a session and share it among our club members. Plus, we will publish it in a Facebook group called, by a self-explanatory name, It's All About Spingbank.
Right.
So, let's start with a practical question. What do you have for us in store today?
Right, well, at the Finest Spirits show in Vienna today, we have the core range. So we have Hazelburn 10, we have Spingbank 10-year-old, 12-year-old cask strength from the August bottling, so 56.3% ABV, and then also Spingbank 15, Spingbank 18, and the long row.
Beautiful. One of the samples last week was the next year's local barley. When I posted a photo of the bottle on our Facebook group, I got a wild reaction with many different questions. Could you tell us more about the whole concept of the local barley and about its future?
Right, well the local barley is obviously the barley that's malted is all produced in the Kintyre Peninsula, probably about 5-10 miles from Campbelltown. So it's very much a single malt that is 100% Kintyre. And so it's a real privilege, and we've been really lucky that we've been able to, produce everything in-house, and it just adds that wee bit extra when we can even use barley which has been grown within 5 to 10 miles of Campbelltown, and also malted at the distillery of Spingbank in Campbelltown itself. Where the idea came from is, well, there used to be lots of farmers round about who grew barley. And then there's the very famous bottling of the 1966 local barley, which I'm sure some lucky people have tasted, which I think currently about £1,000
Okay.
On the internet in some companies. And so luckily we had a chat with some farmers, local farmers, and they decided to grow some barley for us. And so last year's was the first release in the series, and then so it's going to be a series for a good few years to come, with where we'll actually be able to say what type of barley is being used, and also where the farm where it was grown.
So it will be on the label?
Yes, that information will be in the label.
Fantastic. Now, do you plan a similar strain with Hazelburn and Longrow as well?
At the moment, as far as I'm aware, it's going to be Spingbank. But then when you work for Spingbank, you learn to say never. So at the moment, no.
Very nice. Okay, fair point. Recently, you have come up with another interesting gig. You have produced a few single casks of Springbank 21-year-old and divided them between a few markets across the globe. Now a few members of our group try to get them all back into their whiskey den. What was the idea behind this one?
Right, well, it's one of these quirky things that it wasn't intended, but we actually had problems with our packaging. And so in the end, after waiting, I think it was about 6 months, we waited for the packaging. We decided, right, we've got this whiskey ready to go, everybody's waiting for it, apart from having the packaging. So we decided to do the single cask bottling of the 21-year-old for the different markets. So that was how that came about.
So, will you repeat it, by the way?
At the moment, no. Very much a one-off because we had packaging issues.
So, our whiskey members, whoever gets them all together from China, wherever, wow, you have something special, guys.
Yeah,
Many distilleries have introduced the concept of core range, expressions complemented sometimes by travel retail range, and then some limited editions. How do you structure actually your portfolio?
So basically we've got the core range, and so for us the key products are Spingbank 10, Long Row and Hazelburn 10. And then with over and above that, we obviously have older whiskies as well. So like the Spingbank 12-year-old cask strength, which is limited. And then the Spingbank 15, Spingbank 18, and then also the Longrow 18.
So basically anything about those three basic expressions, it's all limited. That's what you're telling me.
Yes, so like for example the Hazelburn Barolo that will be coming out shortly, the local barley, the Springbank 12-year-old cask strength, that's also limited as well, because that comes out twice a year.
My favorite one, by the way.
Yeah, full of it.
Fantastic. Okay. So if you look at the production of the Springbank distillery, so I understand Springbank brand makes the majority of what you output, right? When did the idea to create additional strains, the Hazelburn brand and the Longrow brand, come, and why was that one?
Well, the Longrow, we actually started making Longrow in the 1970s, and this was due to Mr. Wright met up with the manager from Lefroy and his wife by chance, purely in
Dangerous.
in the Cadenhead Whisky Shop in Edinburgh, and obviously they got chatting, and then it turned to quite a heated discussion. And the upshot of the discussion was that the wife of the manager from Lefroy said that it wasn't possible to produce a peated whisky at Springbank or in Campbelltown, and so Mr. Wright hot-footed it back to Campbelltown, and lo and behold set about producing a peated malt. So Longrow has been available since, well, distilled since then, and then Hazelburn was actually Frank McCarty, who retired to Campbelltown in 1997 after working at Bushmills, and he had a very fortuitous meeting with Mr. Wright, and after 6 months of retirement came to work for us. And obviously at Springbank we've got 3 stills, so following a chat between Frank and Mr. Wright, we started to produce a triple distilled whisky that was decided to call Hazelburn. So that's been distilled since 1997.
Amazing. So if you look at the oldest casks of those 2 brands you have in your warehouse, how old are they? The oldest Longrow and oldest Hazelburn, actually.
Yeah, that is a very good question. I think we stopped making Longrow in the 1980s, so we restarted in 1990. But I am not aware if there are any casks of that age
from the first,
from Longrow 1990 in the warehouse still. For Springbank, we're probably looking at like the 25-year-old would probably be coming up for one of the oldest casks that we have there, and we wouldn't have many of them.
And Hazelburn is much younger, I would guess.
Hazelburn, well, we're coming up for 20 years, 20 years of the oldest.
That's beautiful. A very special topic, private casks. Can you tell us about that and what we can expect, if anything, in the future?
I mean, private casks are very difficult to predict because it really depends on the supply. And I mean, obviously nobody knows exactly how much whisky we have to be bottled until it's to be bottled. So private casks, some years they will increase in number, some years they will decrease in number. There's just it's very difficult to state any time in advance or any future what's going to happen. It's just a case of we've got some samples, we send them out, and then they're bottled, so there's usually quite a quick turnaround.
Okay. But if someone was interested in a private cask of Springbank or Longrow, even Hazelburn, can you acquire one today yet?
Alright, no, the distillery did sell casks to individuals from about, I think, 1992 to 2000, but since 2000 haven't sold any casks to individuals.
So I think what you mentioned about are these single casks that you give to people
Markets,
like Mario and Pot Still,
to
the individual countries markets like Mario had 2 years ago, the 17 years, which was great whiskey, I have to admit. By the way. And he has to behave as well to get one. Huh?
Yep, and you have to keep on buying whiskey.
Many of our group members have passed your Springbank Whisky School, and all have been extremely excited about it. That's what you know, I don't need to repeat that one. But there's a rumor that the whole whiskey production in the Springbank distillery is managed basically by 6 people. How is the reality?
Well, the 6 people we talk about are those who do the shifts. So basically they will be having to work 24 hours round the clock. But obviously we employ 70 people, and so as with any job, you need the team. and you need everybody to play their role.
Yeah.
You know, you need somebody who's going to come out at all hours to turn the barley. You need somebody else who's going to have to come and move the cask in the warehouse, take samples, vat all of it together, and eventually bottle it. So although there are 6 people who will be doing shifts at a time, you know, it's very much an extended team that's needed to produce all the whiskey at Spingbank
But at a certain
Distillery.
moment, there are 6 people who cover the whole end-to-end line, basically from the barley to...
There's a core.
There's a
Yep,
core.
a core. Yeah.
One of our members asked even, can you tell us the name of the core people? But I'm not sure what this answer will be.
Yeah, no, I think
They will become rock stars, by the
yeah.
way. You know? Yes. Coming to the close a little bit. Our club, 5005, as I mentioned at the beginning, celebrates an anniversary next year. For this purpose, we acquired a single cask, as we tend to do for some time now. What we call a Whisky Club 5005 Edition 55, by the way, that's the name. And it's a private cask of 25-year-old Springbank, as you know already. I've brought a sample to you. Can you taste it and tell me what you think about it? Where would you put it in the range of the Springbank portfolio?
Right. Let's say on the nose, you get some pear drops coming through, and you definitely get some earthiness. So you would hope it was matured in a lovely Dunnage warehouse. On the palate, it's I'd say quite sort of creamy butterscotch, quite oily as well, and quite a nice, quite a soft finish. Yep, no, very much developing into a very nicely complex, integrated, well balanced with just the hint of peat.
Beautiful. Thanks for that, for your opinion on that, on your whiskey.
Yep, that's right.
For a moment, let's jump to your sister distillery, Glengyle. I still remember when I was tasting the first Kilkerran work in progress from the hands of Frank Beghardy at Vienna Whisky Messe, by the way. This year you reached the magic for 12 years. What's next, and where do you see the brand in 5-6 years?
Right, well, what's next is we have a limited release, Kilkerran Cask Strength, coming out, and that will
When?
be coming out in the first half of 2017.
Fair enough.
So,
Beautiful.
yep, so we're just busy, we're looking at samples at the moment.
And that's bridging us probably to the last question I'd like to ask you. It's pretty cold here, by the way, where we're standing. Many people, you know, waiting for Christmas, New Year. So if you should summarize overall, what should they be looking for from you, Big Springbank, Glengyle, in coming month?
In the coming months, well, we've got some Kilkerran 12-year-olds. We'll see
Kind
on
of second
our
batch,
Facebook.
or?
And we'll just basically another bottling. So we've been busy bottling that, and that should be hitting the shops in Europe soon. Also as well, we have the Hazelburn Barolo, which was released a few weeks ago, so that should be arriving in shops shortly as well. If you want a January present rather than a December present, there is the Springbank 12-year-old Cask Strength. The new release of that will be coming out in January, and then in February is planned for the release of the local barley.
February already?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Beautiful. Melanie, thanks a lot for your time and open discussion. This was 5005 Discussion Over a Glass, and I can't wait to share it with our members. Thank you very much.
No, thank you.